Yo, still Bills, what's the deal here, man? Fresh off the clock. I'm gonna just go fuck off for the next hour and some change or whatever the case may be, because I gotta go pick my daughter up from school. I think I'm gonna just run to Burlington or something. So they got something there that I might like. But peak game, man. We got to talk about this this John Ryder versus Zach Parker fight, man. As far as the fights that are about to be coming out, you know, the Regis Prograis and Jose Zapata, Chocolatito and Estrada. Who else is fighting this year? Before this year is out, Teofimo and Martin. Who else is fighting this year? It's one more fight that I'm thinking of and I can't remember. I think even Frank Martin and Ali Rivera, that's a good fight. Man, I cannot think. Jaime Munguia has a fight. I think he fights this week. I think I'm just as excited to see Zach Parker versus John Ryder John Ryder. I'm just excited to see that fight as I am Jose Zapata versus Regis Prograis. I'm just as excited. Because I don't know, man. It's just, I think with the Brits, what Eddie Hearn is doing for the Brits, they're starting to cultivate a lot of talent over there, man, on a world level. I fuck with that. I'm ready to see Felix Cash mix it up with the other middleweights. I'm ready to see Billy mix it up with the other middleweights. I'm ready to see goddamn Zach Parker mix it up with the other middleweights. I'm happy to see that shit. It's multiple fighters in one division. I fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? So with this fight, you know, I think this, you know, the dynamic is dope. I think it's a fighter that's willing, that's like, yo, this is it for me. If I don't get past this individual right here, then I'm never gonna get to that. You know, I'm never gonna get that. I'm never gonna get a shot at being a champion. Well, I mean, he has had it or whatever, but I think, you know, he feel like his time is waning down, and Zach Parker is feeling like my time is now. You know, I'm right on the precipice of a Canelo fight this early in my career. Oh yeah, I'm not losing this fight, man. So I think the dynamic of it is dope, man. As far as how, you know, the styles match up, I think there's gonna be that prototypical bull versus matador shit, man. Because of course John Ryder can't afford to stay on the outside. He's gonna have to find a way to close distance, and I think he does that very well. You know, he knows how to take a step in behind that southpaw right jab. He knows how to get low up under punches. He's really sleek in the pocket, man. I think he rolls and rides a lot of the punches. He knows how to slip them and catch, you know, and shoot them back. You know, when you're a shorter dude fighting dudes in, you know, divisions where 6 foot is the average height, you're gonna have to learn how to become a prolific counterpuncher. Not necessarily just slipping and stepping in, but, you know, slip and step in simultaneously and look the counter over the top with something. Nah, you're gonna have to learn to go in there with the high guard, catch the shot and shoot it back. That's how he was doing Callum Smith, and a lot of people think he won that fight, me included. But I think he brings a lot of dimensions to this fight, man. A lot of dimensions that I don't think Zach Parker has seen. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's at the. I haven't seen too many fights from Zach Parker, but I don't think he's fought somebody, you know, who's a little bit, you know, shorter to hit. You know, a little bit, you know, he's shorter, so he's harder to get to, and it's easier for him to get up under shots. You dig? And he does that very well. He's good. He has good defense. He has good defense, man. But I think with someone like John Ryder, what we saw is, I think if you have competent feet, and you can punch on the go, not necessarily just moving backwards, just spinning somebody, you know, stepping to the side of somebody, cutting the angle. I think that can offset him, and we saw that with Danny Jacobs. And I made a video about that. I was livid after that fight was over, man, because I just like, why are you he's comfortable with you in the southpaw stance, and he takes chances when you switch to a southpaw stance. That's when he really starts taking chances. And every time he would switch to the southpaw stance, he would get more and more aggressive. Because you can't cut that angle. We don't have to worry about the foot positioning. We don't have to worry about that. Our feet aren't in the line. Our lead hands aren't in line. So you can't step around me. You can't step to my right hand. You can't step around me. Step to my right hand and keep me off balance if you're in the southpaw stance like me. If you step to my right hand, you're running right into the right hook. And he did that, and it was to his detriment, man. It'd be, Danny Jacobs, man. So, but I think out of the conventional stance, somebody with competent feet and a high boxing IQ could offset John Ryder. Does Zach Parker have that? Does he have that boxing acumen? I'm not so sure, because I think a lot of people are really, he's looked really good in his last few fights. He's looked real sharp in there. His switch hitting is really, he's comfortable out of each stand. I think with the switch hitting can become a little bit repetitive because people consistently switch instead of somebody like, when you get somebody like Bud Crawford who can fight comfortably out of the southpaw stance for a whole 12-round bout. That's once somebody is just extremely prolific at what it is that they do. You dig what I'm saying? He's a really good switch hitter. Savannah Marshall's a good switch hitter, but I'm like, is it enough? Are you good enough at switch hitting to where you could offset somebody's strong suit? Are you a strong enough southpaw to out southpaw the natural southpaw? And I don't know. I've yet to see that from Zach Parker, man. And I honestly, me personally, I wouldn't recommend that he switch to the southpaw stance. You dig? I don't think it's some fights you're not gonna be able to win with athleticism and age, because John Ryder, I don't think is even that old. I think he's in his 30s. But shit, you're still in your prime in your 30s. I don't think he's old in this fight. Or going into this fight. I don't think he's old. Shit, they was trying to get him and Jaime Munguia locked in. He is still a credible threat to all of the fighters in this division. So I think with him, he's not a dude where you can just go in there and impose your will on him and stop him without being someone like a Canelo. You dig? I think Canelo is somebody who can go in there and impose his will on him because he's just, he's a level above him. Zach Parker is a cat who's on the come up. I don't think his athleticism and his youth is going to be what gets him over the line. I think what should get him over the line, if he has it, is his ability to box. Now, Zach Parker is a dude who can cut angles on the inside. I've seen it. He's really good and really light on his feet. He can fight inside out. He can, he can fight at all three distances, man. He can, he can pump the jab. He has a good jab. He can, he can work behind the straight shots, but he can take a step in and also take it to the body as well. He can cut the angles and punch off of the turn. I've seen him do all of this shit. And I'm like, yo, dude is nice, man. But when you do that, you also put yourself in harm's way. You're in the kill box. You're in his range, in John Ryder's range, in his comfort zone, to where this is where he wants the fight to be. No, this is where he needs the fight to be. Fuck one. This is where he needs the fight to be for him to be successful. And I think with someone like Zach Parker, I think that's not what you want to do. I think you want to win this fight. You want to win it in drastic fashion. You have youth on your side. I think you even have the hand speed on your side, and I think you have the faster feet as well. So why not make it an easier fight and keep it on the outside? I don't think you should be in there switch hitting. I think you should fight this fight in the conventional stance. Because I've explained this before, everybody talks about the southpaw advantage. And southpaws do have a bigger advantage. Why? Because we don't see southpaws as much. We don't see them as much. But that's the only advantages that they have. Orthodox fighters have the same advantages as southpaw as far as foot positioning. You dig? You can put your feet on the outside. You can put your lead foot on the outside of his lead foot and hinder him from turning. You can cut off his exit, his exit routes right there. You can force him to reset. You can force him to be a step behind you with proper foot placement. As a conventional fighter. And I think that's what that's what we need to get out of John Ryder. And I think that is what we'll get out of John Ryder. I think I think we'll get that from him. I think we'll get that from him, and it'll make for a competitive bout. But I don't need him switch hitting. I don't have a horse in the race in this fight. In all actuality, I don't care who wins, because I'm honestly low-key rooting for both of them. I don't care who wins. I'm rooting for both of them. I have no horse in the race. But I think with someone like John Ryder, I don't think switch hitting would be in your best interest, because I've seen a fighter who's fought at the highest level. Now, granted, he may not be at that level that he once was in Danny Jacobs, but he was still competent enough, and he had, his boxing brain was so vast to where he was completely dominating and outclassing John Ryder until he decided to stay in the southpaw stance going into the middle rounds. So you take somebody who has youth on their side and height on their side, because Zach Parker is listed as being taller than Danny Jacobs. You take all of those into consideration, you have what it takes to be able to deal with someone like a John Ryder. And that's what it is that I'm hoping to see. I just want, that's what I want to see from Zach Parker, man. I want to see John Ryder close distance like he normally does. When you deal with, like I said, man, shorter fighters don't have the option to beat fighters in a multitude of different ways. John Ryder doesn't have the option to fight off of the back foot. He doesn't have the option to set traps and punch on the go. He doesn't have that, unless, when I say punch on the go, unless he's cutting angles and hooking off the turns and punching off of the turns, off of the shifts. He doesn't have. He could punch on the go like that, but it has to be moving in a forward direction. He can't do that moving backwards. He can't do that moving backwards, man. So I think I want to see prototypical John Ryder. I want to see the John Ryder who knows how to get low up under punches, stay poised and composed in the pocket, catch and shoot counters. I want to see all that from John Ryder. I want to see that from John Ryder, and I want to see Zach Parker stay out of the convention, or stay out of the southpaw stance. I do not want him going into the southpaw. I don't want that. I do not need that man going into the southpaw stance, because once he goes into the southpaw stance, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't know if he's as good of a southpaw. Oh shit. I don't know if he's as good of a southpaw as John Ryder is. That matters. You dig? That matters. All that switch hitting, all that shit is cute when you start stepping up levels, because you even realize Bud doesn't flip-flop in between stances throughout the duration of a fight. He stays in one stance, and when he sees, all right, you're hitting me a little too much, now I'm gonna switch up and take that advantage from you, like he did with Kell Brook. Kell Brook was countering him. He was catching him coming in. He couldn't get comfortable and well enough in range to land that right hand, so he switched southpaw, and he created that lead foot advantage. Which switching, that's what you get with switching into the southpaw stance. And when he started spinning him to his lead hand, it had Kell Brook off balance. He was out of range to land a shot. He was never set to land a shot, and it led to his demise. So I think that's what unless you're prolific of a switch hitter like that, I don't think you need to be switching, man. A lot of people are just switching for the sake of, it's like showcasing that they can switch stances, and it's like, yo, it's cute, but it's a skill set to have. It's an incredible skill set to have, man. But when you start stepping up in competition, I think it's best if you stick to what it is that suits you. And before Zach Parker, I would recommend, if you started switching like that again, let's get some high level fights up under your belt before we start doing that. And John Ryder, I feel, is definitely a high level fight due to who he's been in there with: Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Danny Jacobs. You dig? So I really don't know who I have winning this fight. I know it's a lot of people going with Zach Parker. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even care. I just want to see them fight. I think it's a really good fight. I'm glad that John Ryder is taking a chance on the youngin, and I'm glad youngin is like, all right, cool. We ain't getting Andre. All right, bet it is what it is. We already had John Ryder in the queue anyway. Let's go on ahead and get that shit out the way. So I don't know who wins this fight. I don't know. My heart wants to tell me Zach Parker, because he's younger, you know, I think, you know, he has more, you know, more advantages with the, you know, the switch hitting abilities, the height, the youth, you know, hand speed, punching power. I think he has all that at his disposal, man. But John Ryder is a veteran. He's, you know, he's crafty as shit in there, and I don't think that he's that. I don't think he's. I don't even know if I wouldn't even recommend it. I wouldn't even say that he's out of his prime. I wouldn't say that at all. He's older than Zach Parker. He's been, you know, attrition is, you know, every fighter is going to deal with attrition, man. But is his attrition on the scale of someone like a Kell Brook or an Amir Khan? I don't think so. So this is going to be a competitive bout. It's going to be a competitive bout. And I don't know who I have winning. In all action, and in all honesty, as I've stated before, I don't give a fuck. I'm just happy that they fighting, man. So I'm definitely tuning into this fight when it happens. I think next week. And yeah, that's all I got to say about it, man. I'll get with y'all later. Deuces.